Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome to the Meet Me on Main Street podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be covering how to do Disney on a budget, and we're going to go over the new Beak and Barrel's menu. Today is August 13th, 2025, and this is episode 9 of the Meet Me on Main Street podcast. Let's do it. Yo, what's up, everybody? This is your guy, Joseph Belveduto, aka Nostalgic Belv. And as always, I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. And we're going to just jump right into it. We got some news to cover right now. Guys, if you plan on going to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, make sure you book your dates as soon as possible because these dates are continuing to sell out. Over in Epcot, they have began to start setting up the kiosks for the 2025 Food and Wine Festival. The festival is set to begin on August 28th. Guys, I was hoping to cover the entire menu for today's episode, but I had to hold off because they did not put the menu out yet. Last year, 2024, they released the full menu on August 13th, so I waited until August 13th to get this episode out. But unfortunately, they didn't put it out yet. So I'm hoping that next week's episode, we will be able to cover the entire food list at every single pavilion so we can start getting excited for that. A new acrobatics show has debuted in France in Epcot's World Showcase. This show includes physical skill, fun humor, and also gets the crowd involved. I've seen some video, and it looks very, very cool. Disney has set reservation dates for the Beak and Barrel's Pirates Tavern for 2025 Very Merry Christmas Party. If you're staying at the resort, you can begin to start booking on September 3rd, 2025, and for dates up to 60 days in advance for their arrival. All other guests can begin on September 8th. Halloween decorations have began to go up in Magic Kingdom. Main Street is starting to show a lot more orange in preparation for all of the new Halloween and fall festivities. For all the pass holders, go grab your complimentary Finding Nemo Crush pass holder magnet. Don't forget to do that because it's pretty cool. And with that being said, yesterday I decided to finally become an annual pass member myself. With the amount of times that I've been visiting Disney recently, I weighed out the pros and the cons of grabbing the annual pass, and I decided it was time for me to become AP. I did quite a bit of research, going online, doing a little bit of chat GPTing, and just trying to figure out, when does the annual pass become worth it financially? And a lot of my research showed that if you end up going over 2 times a year to Disney, that is when it becomes time to think about grabbing the annual pass. Now, with that being said, if you're going solo versus going with your family, those are 2 different things. Because, the annual pass after tax, and if you want the memory maker, it ends up being around $1,700. So in order for you to get that for the entire family, my family, myself, my wife, and my son, that's pretty hefty. We're not really going to be able to afford that, but I am going to be going down a little bit more than them here and there, now trying to get some information and everything for the podcast. So it made sense for me to grab it because if I just want to take a quick weekend trip down there to go try some of the food for the new Food and Wine Festival or go check out, the Halloween party or whatever the case is so I could help get information for the podcast, it makes sense for me to grab the annual pass. On top of that, some of the deals that they've had recently, I've saved quite a bit of money on my stay. We ended up booking Pop Century. I'm going to be staying at Pop for about 5 days on this next trip. And I ended up saving about $75 a night. So if you subtract that off the cost of the annual pass, it ends up paying for itself way sooner with some of these deals going on for annual pass members. So this kind of leads me into what I'm going to be talking about on today's episode. I've been having a lot of people reach out to me on TikTok, which once again, guys, I appreciate all of the follows that I've been getting on TikTok. If you do not follow me, I am Nostalgic Belv on there. I've been posting quite a bit of Disney content, and it's been getting a really, really positive response. So I've been having some people reach out to me, and one person asked me, what is the cheapest way for me to get to Disney? And there's a lot of things that come into play with that question. Like, where do you live in the United States? Are you even in the United States? Are you from another country? There's a lot of things that you have to try to figure out when you're going to be taking a trip in. So for me specifically, the first time we went to Disney, we were kind of balling on a budget. And the biggest thing you have to try to book right away is, if you're not close to Disney, is you got to book your flight. So I looked all over. I live in Scranton, Pennsylvania, so I'm about a 2-hour drive from Philly, about a 2-hour drive from Newark. I got the Avoca Airport about 5 minutes from my house. And you got to start weighing out, what's the cheapest way for me to go. So I checked all the flights. Obviously, the easiest way for me to go would be leaving right out of Avoca because it's so close to home. But they have the most expensive flights of the three. So then you start looking at Newark and Philly. Philly has Frontier, and their flights are pretty cheap. Now, how is the experience of Frontier? It's not top of the line. It's not the best, but it's a 2-hour flight to Orlando. You know what I mean? It's not like you're going to be on an 8-hour flight. Just go in there, sit down, put the headphones in, bring a snack with you, and before you know it, you're landing in Orlando. So this next trip that I'm going down, I like getting a rental because I like driving around. I'm going to be doing some searching, trying to get some more content for the podcast, some more content for the social medias. So a rental car was big for me this time around. But just to give you guys some kind of idea, my flight plus the rental was $400, which really is not bad because I'm going to be there almost 9 days. Now, do you need a rental car? Is it a necessity? No, definitely not. You don't need one. There's ways to get to the resorts or ways to get to wherever you're staying. Now, to refer back to her question, she's talking about what is the cheapest way to go. So my first tip I'm going to give you is, well, one, reach out to a travel agent. Travel agents, they're going to make sure you're getting the guaranteed best price. Why? Because they want you to come back and continue booking through them, So what I would do is I would tell my client, you got to book as far in advance as possible. If you book very far out, you're going to get a really good rate. So now you somewhat got your flight figured out. You somewhat have your days figured out when you're going to be staying. Two of those things, they correlate. So it's always cheaper to fly on certain days. Let's take, for instance, the last time I was in, I left on a Monday. So Mondays, you can get some really, really cheap flights. A lot of people are going to be flying out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because a lot of people leave on Fridays and Saturdays. A lot of people return on Sundays, so they have to go back to work on Monday. So if you could figure out how to leave on, say, a weekday, say like a Monday or a Tuesday, you're going to save money on that flight. But then you also have to take, your stay and figure out what days you're going to be staying, because that also comes into play as well. If you're going to be staying just at Disney for, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's going to be more expensive rates than if you were staying there for a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So once again, we're going back to the bare minimum, the cheapest stay. Also, one thing to come into play, which Disney's really good about, is what are you going to be eating? If you have a family of 5 and you have to eat in the park every day for every meal, it's going to cost a lot of money. But you can go visit a Walmart while you're there, go get all your food, or you can even have a food delivery right to your resort or your Airbnb. You guys could literally make peanut butter and jellies, bring them into the park with some water, and you're set. You don't have to spend any more money on food than you have to. Maybe you guys just buy a snack while you're in the park and all the other food you bring with you. Also, guys, ice water is always free. You can go up to any stand or any food spot, quick service, whatever, and you can get a glass of ice water for completely free. So that's one thing not everybody knows. You're spending, I think it's $4 for a bottle of water, but you could get a cup of ice water for completely free. There's so many ways to do this. Now this episode, I kind of just wanted to touch on this woman's question, but the more I'm talking about it now, the more I realize, there should be an entire episode devoted to this, like the bare minimum. Maybe I even pick a random date and we book it out together and we figure out, what the cheapest options really are. It's hard to say because there's so many things that come into play depending on where you're staying in the United States, out of the country, whatever. And it depends on what time of the year you want to go. But with that being said, guys, I don't want to touch too much more on that. Those are my 3 tips. That's the 3 tips I'm going to give. Figure out your flight, find out the cheapest places where you can fly out of that are local to you. Not everybody has multiple airports within a couple hour drive like I do. But yeah, figure out the flight, figure out the best days to fly, book your resort very far in advance, and then figure out the cheapest way that you and your family can eat. Those are really the 3 main things you got to think about when you're going on a trip. Or reach out to a travel agent at 407 and Beyond, and they will take care of almost all of this for you. They're not going to be able to, help you make your peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but they could always help you with dining reservations and also give you some insight on some cheaper places to eat with the family and that type of thing. One thing I'll say about Disney is Disney does have some very affordable food options in comparison to Universal. Not so much. Food at Universal I found to be very expensive, and the quality is not as good as Disney. At least that's my personal opinion. But yeah, there's so many options. And now that I answered this question, I think I'm going to dig a little bit deeper on another episode, and we'll touch base on that. So I want to dive into this new restaurant that Disney just revealed to us not so long ago. And that is the Beak and Barrel. It's officially opening to the public on August 29th, and it's basically a Pirates of the Caribbean themed restaurant. You can go there for lunch and dinner, and it's, from the pictures I've seen, it just looks like such a cool experience. So you guys know me by now. I'm a big foodie. I love breaking down a menu and going over all the items and kind of give my opinion on what I think I would get when I'm there, and also what I think is going to do very well for them. So that's what we're going to do for the next 10 minutes or so. I got the menu pulled up here in front of me. And, once again, it's opening August 29th. I'm sure they have some early cast member access, as always, which is what they usually do. My cousin did reach out to me and said, if I wanted to try to get down there sooner, he would have been able to bring me with him when he gets early access. But, I wasn't able to get down there early enough. But I will be there within the first couple weeks of it opening. So I'm happy I'll be able to get some video and give you guys my honest review on TikTok and, of course, the podcast. So let's just jump into it. This is called From the Galley. So this is basically their appetizers, what they got going on here. So first off, for $16, we got the Island Provisions. It's plantain chips, blue corn tortillas, toasted flatbread served with mango chutney, garlic chimichurri, spiced guava, and a zesty cilantro cream dip. That sounds good. I'm a big dip guy. At the last festival I was at, I got the chips trio, which had 3 different types of cheese. I love me some chips. I love me some guac. Anything like that. I'm a dip guy. Anyway, moving on. Cook's Corn griddle cakes with chipotle braised chicken. This is a warm corn cake stuffed with melted cheese, lime sour cream, chili peppers, and a cotija. That's going to cost you $14, and they also have another variation of it without the chicken and just poblano peppers, and that's going to be $12. Next up, we got the Kraken's Catch. This is octopus tentacles marinated in lemon and lime juice with olives, bell peppers, avocado, and a pepper almond foam. This is interesting. I I think this is going to be one of those things that people get for the photo and just to give it a try amongst the table. But I feel like a lot of people aren't going to be getting this just to actually enjoy it. I think it's going to be more of an experience than people actually getting it for the taste of it. Obviously, octopus, it's a little different. Not everybody's cup of tea, but that is a very interesting choice for them to put that on the menu. That's going to be $18 for that. So moving on, the next thing they have on the menu, they have some non-alcoholic specialty beverages. This is getting really big, guys, because a lot of people, they're cutting back on drinking. Nothing wrong with that. But they still like the idea of having a mocktail or some sort of non-alcoholic beverage. And I just see this doing so well. Even at my own restaurant, a lot of people are giving the non-alcoholic beers, the Zero Heineken and everything. This is just becoming more and more popular, which I think is a good thing. So let's start off with the Cursed Treasure. This is going to be $7.75, an indulgent blend of coconut milk and cookie crumbs topped with a vanilla foam and Pirate's Gold. Straight to the point, just a nice, cheap, non-alcoholic option. Next up, we got the Treasure Trove, a mysterious lemon and coconut concoction served with a vanilla cake plank, chocolate cannonball, and a golden caramel popcorn. This is going to retail for $13.75. That's very interesting as well. I'm going to jump into some of these signature cocktails now. I'm not going to read all of them, but I'm going to point out 3 of them that I feel like are really interesting. The first one is the Plunderer's Punch. It's a Kraken Black spiced rum, blackberry, lime, and vanilla served with a Souvenir Pirate Skull mug. This one goes for $46. I think this one's probably going to be one of the more popular ones on the signature cocktails because it's going to come with that Pirate Skull mug. I think people are really going to be trying to grab that one. Especially early on in the opening, because it's going to be a cool souvenir to have from when it first opened. Next up, we got the Salty Seas Margarita. So they capitalized that R in there for that pirate finesse on that drink. We got the Lelo Blanco tequila and with liquor and lime. Straight to the point, $20 for that margarita. Everybody loves a good margarita, right? And now this one's more of my taste. This is the Barrels Ablaze. This is Jack Daniel's Bonded Bourbon, Honey Lemon, and Chili. That sounds pretty good to me. Jumping over to the draft beer, we got the Pirate's Paradise Blonde Ale. This is through Victory Brewing Co., and that's going to retail for $11.50. And then we have the Buried Treasure Session Sour, which is the Wicked Weed Brewing Company, and that's going to retail for $13.50. Now, jumping over to the reserve rum selections. Now, guys, let me remind you, this is a 2-ounce pour, so pretty small. These are going to be more expensive. These are some high-class rums we have here. We got the Four Square Rum Distillery Exceptional Cask Selection Mark 28. That's $45, okay, for a 2-ounce pour. Keep in mind. Like I said, these more of a high-quality rum that we have here. And then last for the rum selections, we got the Flor de Cana 25-year rum. That's also going to be $45. Am I going to try that for $45? Probably not. But for people who love good rum, these are 2 great selections of rum right here. So now moving on to just bottles and cans, they got 3 selections here. Really the basics. Simple things that people really enjoy. We got the Modelo Lager, we got the Bell's Two Hearted IPA, and we got the Red Stripe Lager. Straight to the point. I think it fits the theme well, having the lagers and that Bell's Two Hearted IPA. Other than that, guys, that's pretty much it for what they've given us so far. Is this menu going to get bigger? Potentially it can. It definitely could. This might be what they're starting off with. I thought they'd maybe have a few more options for food, but this is more of a, sit down, have a cocktail, have a drink, have a little something to eat with some friends type of place. In the future, will they add more? I hope so. We'll see. Disney, they like to take their time with things, and they're just getting the ball rolling with this place. So we'll see. We will see. With that being said, guys, that's going to be it for this week's episode. Once again, next week, I'm hoping to be able to plan all of the food for the Food and Wine Festival. Last year it came out August 13th. Today is the 13th. And I think between now and next week, we should be able to see the food menu. I'm just so excited for that. Love me a good Epcot festival. For those of you who do not follow me on social media, follow me. Follow me on social media. Check me out. I'm on Instagram. My personal Instagram is Nostalgic Belv. I post some cool stuff up on there. Even non-Disney related things, but more nostalgic related things. And you could check me out for all of my travel content on social media. On Instagram is going to be Belv Books Magic. That's BELVE. Belv Books Magic. And on TikTok, you could check me out at Nostalgic Belv, where I post just about all of those things from both of those Instagrams. A lot of travel stuff, a lot of Disney content, a lot of food content, a lot of food reviews and stuff like that. So, guys, if you can, leave me a rating and a review for the podcast, mainly because it just helps push the podcast. And if you know somebody else that loves Disney as much as you do, share this podcast with them if they love the genre. We got a trip coming up, guys. I'll be heading out September 6th. I'll be heading down to Orlando, so less than a month now. And I'm going to be hanging out with the 407 team and getting some fun content for you guys. If you have anything you would like me to specifically check out while I'm down there, shoot me a message, shoot me an email. All of my links and all of my social medias are always in the show notes. And that's it. That's it for this week, guys. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. And I'll catch you guys next week on the Meet Me on Main Street podcast. So long.